ago, in the quiet town of Ilorin, there lived a young student called Timothy, known to his friends as Timo. One Saturday evening, Timmy's stomach grumbled loudly. With no food in the house and nothing left to eat, he went to bed earlier than usual, hoping sleep would silence the hunger. Just 30 minutes later, his phone rang loudly. It was Simisola, his classmate. "Timo, where are you?" she asked. "I am at home. Where else?" he answered. She invited him to come help set up a new laptop. At first, Timo refused. He was tired and hungry. But when Simisola mentioned she had cooked rice and stew, he jumped up instantly and started heading to her house. The night was unusually quiet. No footsteps, no motorbike sounds, nothing. Only the boom of music coming from Timo's earpiece kept him company. Suddenly, a soft voice called his name from behind. "Timmy!" He turned quickly. No one was in sight. He shook his head and continued walking. A few seconds later, the voice came again, clearer, softer, closer. "Why are you walking so fast?" the voice asked. Timmy froze. He turned around again. Still, he saw no one. This time, he didn't wait. He removed his earpiece and ran until he reached Simisola's house. He was sweating and shaking as she opened the door. She laughed, offered him some water, and begged him to help set up the laptop. "Where is the food?" he asked. There was no food, she answered. She had only used the food as an excuse to bring him over. Timo was angry, but eventually decided to help her. After he was done, they talked, watched a movie together. One thing led to another and they had each other for the night. They did what lovers do at night and eventually fell asleep, with Timo forgetting about the strange voice on the road. Early the next morning, Simisola jokingly warned, "What happened here? Let no one know." Timo laughed. "I mean it," she said. "You already have a girlfriend, and so nothing can happen between me and you henceforth." "How did you know?" Timo asked. "Of course I know. Her name is Simisola. She is my namesake as well," she said. Timo laughed again. He was surprised that Simisola, his classmate, already knew about his actual girlfriend, who happened to be another girl named Simisola. Days passed. Timo visited his girlfriend, who he refers to as Simi Baby. She also cooked for him and treated him with love and care. That night again, as he walked back to his house, the same strange experience happened. This time, it was 9:30 p.m. He heard footsteps following him. When he looked back, nobody was there, but the footsteps continued. Timo began to run. The footsteps also began to run. He hid behind a large parked truck. Then a young girl appeared on the road, looking left and right. "Okay, you can come out now," she said softly. Timo held his breath. She wasn't someone he knew, yet she called him Timmy, the name only close friends used. When he came out in fear and asked who she was, the girl smiled and said, "I am Simisola, your friend." Timo was surprised. How could she have the same name, just like his girlfriend Simisola and his classmate Simisola? That was impossible. Timo had never seen her before. He was sure. How could she know his name, he asked himself. She reminded him of the day she had come to his compound with a friend to cut pumpkin leaves at night, and suddenly Timo remembered her. He asked for her number. She refused and said she would call him instead. When he got home that night, he could not sleep as he reflected on all that happened. The following day, Timo had a strange dream. He saw himself walking alone in a desert, tired and with no clothes on. A deep hole full of dangerous snakes blocked his path. On the other side of the hole stood his girlfriend, begging him to jump and cross over safely. He was about to fall inside the hole when he suddenly woke up screaming. Minutes later, his girlfriend called him. To his surprise, she described the exact same dream. She told Timo they needed to fast and pray because her dreams always come to pass. That same night, the mysterious Simisola girl appeared again. This time, inside his room at 2 a.m. She smiled, wearing a white dress, and called him by his pet name. Timo asked her many questions. How did you know where I live? How did you get inside? Who exactly are you? These were some of the questions Timo asked. She sat down slowly and said, Timo, there are many things about me that you don't know. Timo stared at her in confusion. Then she asked, Do you love me? Timo was confused. He never saw this question coming. Do you love me? She asked again. Timo did not answer, but mysteriously found himself nodding. So what if I am not a human being? She asked. Timo went silent. His eyes widened. The air in the room became cold. She looked into his eyes and repeated the question in a calm, deep voice. Timo, what if I am not a human being? Timothy's heart pounded loudly. He tried to speak, but his tongue became heavy. The mysterious Simisola stood calmly in front of him, her white dress shining softly in the darkness of the room. Timo, she repeated, if I tell you who I am, will you still want me? Timothy opened his mouth, but no word came out. Instead, he slowly nodded. She smiled faintly and said, Very well then, listen carefully. She sat down on his chair and told him a strange story. A long time ago, she began, there was a young girl who lived in the nearby village. She was rejected by her family and her best friend betrayed her. Heartbroken, she wandered into the forest where a spirit appeared to her. Do you want power or do you want love? The spirit asked her. She chose love. The spirit smiled and gave her an internal charm, a white wrist bangle that allowed her to appear in the life of the person whose heart belonged to her soul. As Timothy looked at her wrist, he finally noticed it, a white bangle. She raised her eyes slowly to meet his. You, Timo, are the one whose heart matches mine, she said. Timothy couldn't understand. But we only met a few days ago, he said. She shook her head. No, we met a year ago in your compound. The day you helped me and Ifeoluwa cut pumpkin leaves at night. You spoke kindly to me and smiled. From that day, my spirit followed you, every day, every night, she told him. Timothy felt chills run down his spine. So why are you appearing now? He asked. She stood up and walked towards the door. Because your life is in danger. If I don't protect you, you will pass away very soon, she replied. Timothy's eyes widened. Pass away? Why? He asked. Just then, there was a loud knock on the door. Timothy jumped. The mysterious Simisola placed her finger on her lips. Do not open that door, she told him. The knocking continued louder and faster. Timo, open the door, someone said from outside. Timo recognized the voice. It was his girlfriend's voice. Another lady who coincidentally was named Simisola. The mysterious Simisola looked into Timo's eyes. If you open that door, she will enter into your shadow and follow you forever, she said. Timothy looked confused. Enter into my shadow? What are you talking about? He asked. Another loud knock. Timo, it is me. Open the door, the lady from outside said. The mysterious Simisola suddenly disappeared. Timothy turned around, but she was gone. With shaking hands, he opened the door and his girlfriend Simisola walked in, smiling. Why were you taking so long? She asked him while hugging him. But as she walked into the room, Timothy noticed something terrifying beneath her feet. Her shadow was facing the opposite direction. It was moving on its own. Timothy stepped back slowly, not believing what he was seeing. His girlfriend looked at him and smiled. What is it? You look like you have seen a ghost, she asked. Timothy couldn't speak. He looked down again. The shadow moved slightly. His heart began to race. His girlfriend moved closer and whispered, Timo, don't be afraid. I told you my dreams always come true. At that moment, all the lights in the room suddenly went off. There was total darkness. Timothy shouted, Jesus! But his mouth was covered by an unseen hand. Timothy tried to scream. but something pressed tightly over his mouth. He could hear breathing, not his own, right beside his ear. A deep whisper echoed in the darkness. "Don't move and don't say a word," a voice said. Timothy's heart pounded like a drum. Suddenly, the hand released him and vanished into thin air. The lights flickered and the bulb came back on. The room was empty. Timothy looked around in fear. His girlfriend was no longer there, and the door was wide open. He swallowed hard, confused and terrified at the same time. He gently walked to the door and stepped outside. The corridor was silent. Far in the distance, he heard the faint bark of a dog, but nothing more. Suddenly, his phone rang loudly in his hand. He looked at the screen, and it was an unknown caller. Timothy shook his head and ignored the call. It rang again. This time, he answered slowly. "Hello," Timothy answered. There was silence for a few seconds. Then a familiar voice whispered, "They are already in your shadow, Timo. Be careful." The voice said, and the call ended. Timothy stood frozen. That was the voice of the mysterious Simisola. He was very sure. The next morning, he forced himself out of bed and decided to go to class as if nothing had happened. As he walked across the school field, he noticed 3 girls on the other side of the path. All of them were laughing loudly. Suddenly, all 3 turned at the same time, and all 3 of them had the same face, Simisola. Timothy blinked. When he opened his eyes again, the girls were normal and walking away casually. His hands started shaking. Something was clearly wrong. Later that day, Timothy went to the fellowship center on campus and met the pastor there. "Brother Timothy," the pastor said, "the Lord has been laying you heavily on my heart." "What is going on?" the pastor asked. Timothy hesitated, then poured out everything: the strange voice, the mysterious girl, the dream, the strange shadow. The pastor sighed and said, "Not all that appears friendly is from God. Some spirits takes the form of the person your heart desire, so that you won't resist them. You must be careful," he warned. He placed a Bible in Timothy's hands and said, "Tonight at midnight, read Psalm 27 aloud, and do not leave your room. No matter what you hear, do not open the door," he instructed. Timothy nodded slowly, even though fear filled his heart. He thanked the pastor and went home. That night at 11:59 p.m., Timothy sat on his bed with a candle lit and Bible in his hand. He glanced at the clock and it moved to 12 a.m. He opened his mouth and started reading. "The Lord is my light and my salvation," he said. Before he could finish, a soft knock came from the door. Timothy remembered the pastor's warning. "No matter what you hear, do not open the door," the pastor had instructed him. He kept reading, but the knocking continued. Then a familiar voice spoke outside. "Timo, it is me. Please open. I brought you food." It was Simisola, his girlfriend. Timothy's eyes filled with tears. He wanted to open the door. "Timo, please, I am scared. Let me in," she said. He stood up and slowly walked towards the door. Suddenly, the Bible fell from the bed on its own and opened to Psalm 27. The candle flame rose straight up like a torch. Timothy realized it was a warning. He stepped away from the door, trembling. From outside, the voice changed. "Timo, if you won't open the door, then I will come in through another way," the voice said. Suddenly, a cold breeze blew into the room. The candle went out, and right in front of him, the mysterious Simisola appeared in the corner of the room, smiling. "You were warned, but you didn't listen," she said. She began to walk slowly towards him. Timothy's back pressed against the wall as the mysterious Simisola stepped closer. Her white bangle glowed faintly under the moonlight. "You prayed," she whispered, "but your heart still belongs to me." Timothy trembled. "Who are you? Tell me the truth," he said. For the first time, Simisola's face softened. She lowered her head and said quietly, "I was once a girl, rejected and betrayed. I chose love, and the Spirit gave me this bangle. He tied me to the first soul that showed me kindness. That soul was you, Timothy. But love turned into bondage, and I became what I never wanted, she said. A tear fell from her eye. Timothy raised the Bible in his hands, his voice shaking. If this is love, then let me go. I belong to God, not to you, Timothy replied. Simisola stared at him for a long moment, then her smile faded. The candle's flame suddenly rose higher, burning bright. The whole room filled with light. Simisola cried out, her voice echoing like thunder. If you reject me, then I release you, she said. Her body began to fade into white smoke, the bangle falling to the ground with a soft clink. Timothy kept praying louder. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? He prayed. Simisola's figure dissolved completely, her last words drifting through the air. Thank you for setting me free, the voice echoed. And then, boom, there was silence. The next morning, Timothy woke up to sunset streaming through the window. The bangle still lay on the floor, broken into two. For the first time in weeks, the room felt peaceful. No voices, no shadows moving, just quiet. He stepped outside, breathing in the fresh morning air. His girlfriend Simi Baby ran up to him. Timo, are you okay? I was so worried, she said. He smiled weakly but with relief. I am fine, truly fine. It is over, he replied. She hugged him tightly. That evening, Timothy walked to fellowship and placed the broken bangle on the altar. The pastor prayed over him and said, some battles are not fought with fear, but with faith, and you have overcome. Timothy bowed his head, tears of gratitude filling his eyes. As the choir sang softly in the background, he whispered to himself, never again will I fear the shadows, for the Lord is my light. And so ends the story of dark shadows of Simisola. Not every spirit seeks to destroy. Some only seek release. But one truth remains. In the face of darkness, light will always prevail. Thank you for watching Dark Shadows of Simisola on African Story Village by Anegbe Peter. If you enjoyed this series, subscribe and share it to more people so people can experience African storytelling at its best. New story dropping very, very soon.